of sun and clouds and a high of 67. Gilbertson and LaCornu Orthodontics is offering a Mother's Day Invisalign special Tuesday, May 8th. Save up to $500 off of comprehensive Invisalign treatment and get free teeth whitening for your best and brightest smile. Visit embraceyoursmile.com to schedule your free consultation.
Still feel 25 most of the time. I still raise a little cane with the boys.
Man, oh man, I love that song. It's Andrew, my new producer. Cody's fired. He's never coming back now. You need a microphone, man. It's called The Business of Life if you're listening on award-winning KHTS 1220 AM, but how about 98.1 FM? Great signal, heard all over the area, Palmdale, Lancaster, out to Ventura County. So the show, 20 years I've been doing the show. I'm a business coach, and I've had over 15,000 interviews. I've interviewed everything but the president and the vice president of the United States, Andrew. I've interviewed senators, a lot of politicians, a lot of entertainers, a lot of famous athletes, and just everyday Joes like me and you, everyday Joes. Today I've got a very special interview. It's a lady that I think in many ways changed my life. Isn't that interesting? And I met her at a coffee shop, Starbucks, where I hang out in the morning. And I don't know Abby, welcome, Abby Levine.
Hi.
How are you, my dear?
Good.
Nice
How
to
are
see you. Now, are you a citizen yet, or?
I'm a permanent resident.
What does that mean?
That means I have a green card.
Oh, good. How do you become a citizen?
I just apply.
Have you done that yet?
Not
Are you
yet.
sure? You maybe not sure you're going to stay.
I'm still on the fence a little bit.
Oh. And your home country is South Africa.
I was born in South Africa. My nationality is English.
I love your accent.
Thank you.
So one of the great days of my life, so I flew, building my company, I flew every week for 20-plus years building my company. I had 40 offices around the United States. And I had an incident. We don't need to get into it, but I had an incident happen at LAX. And, excuse me, and I stopped flying. And somehow I meet you. I can't remember. Do you remember how we did it?
Yeah, I was standing in line at Starbucks.
You were standing in line?
Yeah, I was standing in line behind you guys, and someone said something hysterical, and I burst out laughing, and you turned around, and you were like, that was funny, right? And I was like, it was. And we chatted a bit.
And I heard your accent.
And you heard my accent, and you said, where are you from? And then I told you, and you said, what do you do? And then I told you, and you're like, come here, get your coffee, come sit down.
Yeah, but then you were coaching some lady up, I think, right? You were there because you were me. Yeah. So I asked you what you did, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, we followed up with each other. And about a couple of weeks later, we had a little session at Starbucks. And
impromptu.
Very impromptu. I mean, really, you're such a valued person in my life. You're such an asset. And you can find her on Facebook, Abby Levine. You can find her, and you post cool videos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And your profession is?
I am an emotional transformation strategist.
Wow, an emotional transformation strategist. Can we do it shorter? Is there anything shorter?
I like it long. Here's the thing: is that I was working with my business coach, and we're going over a bunch of different ideas, and every title we came up for me didn't include some of the things that I do. Right? I used to call myself a hypnotherapist,
right?
But that leaves out a whole. Maybe like 3/4 of my job.
You still do hypnotherapy?
Of course, yeah.
Right.
The hypnotherapy is one of the tools I use to help people create change.
You help me. I tell my wife and I talk about you all the time. So we're at the table, and you asked me why I don't fly, and I had all these. I was telling you the story, and it's interesting. We're going to get into this a little bit. You basically said, "I'm looking at the wrong end of the horse." You basically said, have you ever thought about all the reasons why you should fly? And I said, no. And then we started talking about the reasons why I should fly. And a couple of months later, I got on an airplane with my family, went to Hawaii, did it without drugs. Yeah, unbelievable. And I still I tell everybody about the story. And then I referred you to a wife of a friend of mine. I don't know if she ever called you, Kristen.
I can't tell you.
Can't tell me. But she flies now. She flies now, so you're an amazing person. So we're going to talk about a few subjects today. I left the paper in the car, but the front page. Andrew, are you 22 yet?
I am only 20. I turned 21 actually in 19 more days.
Wow.
So the front page of the, we're going to get in this in a few minutes. The front page of the USA Today. Today's Tuesday, May 1st. What does May 1st mean? It means something. Cinco de Mayo.
That's 5th.
Oh, Cinco de Mayo is the 5th? Yeah, I should know that. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. Cinco, 5.
There you go.
Front page of the USA Today said that the number one reason for illness of people your age is what? Do you know what it is?
Ooh, I'm going to say heart disease.
Loneliness.
Ooh, that was a good guess.
Loneliness.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about loneliness in a few minutes. Loneliness causes all kinds of diseases and illnesses for people your age, more so than cigarette smoking, more so than opioids. Opioids.
That's a big one.
You do opioids?
Of course not.
Of course not. All right, back to Abby Levine. So let's talk about timing. Timing in life is everything. Having the right conversation at the right time, which you did with me, changed my life. Now I fly. And what I learned from just that one conversation was that you opened up something for me that I knew about because I'm a business coach, but maybe I didn't practice it myself enough. And that is keeping an open mind, looking at all sides of a situation. Yeah. Looking at the good, the bad, the ugly, looking at, as you said, why should you be flying? What are the reasons why you should be getting on an airplane, right? So let's talk about that. In your practice, people come to you for what reasons?
I mean, man, all across the board. However, the things that really get people moving are running out of money. So when their profession is not cutting it, when they're either procrastinating or they are in fear for some reason, maybe fear of success, fear of failure, when they can see that their activities level is not matching where it should be, then I'm kind of their last-ditch effort. Also, depression.
That's a lot of people, lady.
It is.
I mean, that's a
why I'll
whole
always
bunch
be
of
employed.
people. Talking to Abby Levine here on award-winning KHTS 1220 AM. How about 98.1? You can listen on 98.1 or go to hometownstation.com or download our app on the App Store. Keep going.
Oh, sure. Or depression. Depression when people are having trouble getting out of bed, when they're having trouble finding a reason to get up in the morning. A lot of times they have already tried talk therapy. A lot of times they're already on some kind of medication. And it might be that their doctor is looking to increase their medication. Or maybe they simply can't stop crying. And they've been crying for 3 weeks straight and they have no idea why.
I'm crying right now because my shortstop with the Dodgers is out for the whole season.
Who?
Seager.
What?
Corey Seager.
The other day? Was
yeah.
it a groin injury?
No,
what was
Corey
that?
Seager,
What did he do?
his arm, he's having elbow surgery. Tommy John. Do you know Corey? You should be hooked up with Corey. He's single.
That is...
He's single. No. Back to the Dodgers. Anyway, that's why I'm crying. That's why I'm crying.
Oh, that is the saddest news.
Yes, that's very sad news.
Oh,
extremely
so
sad.
upsetting.
Yeah, so I'm sad today.
Okay, then let's do a session after
Let's do a session.
Okay.
Okay, so is depression frustration turned inside out? Could you describe? That's how I look at depression. There have been times in my life where I've clearly been depressed, not for a long time. I've been blessed, not for a long time, but something happened where I have a pity party.
Sure.
and that pity party turns into woe is me, and then the woe is me turns into slight depression. Doesn't last long, maybe an hour, but or 2 hours, but even it's horrible.
Oh, it's not pleasant.
No.
Well, I love that perspective because, yes, in some respects, absolutely, it's anger, it's frustration, but it's like the insides of the anger and the frustration. But sometimes it's simply hopelessness, just like a lack of knowing what to do and feeling like everything that you're trying is not working and not knowing how to get to that mystical arena of happiness again. Some people just don't have a roadmap back. They have all of these stuff, all these voices. You're nothing. You're a loser. You're worthless. All of these voices telling them stuff that's not true. All of this deceitful stuff that came from the outside, right? Nobody is born telling themselves that they're nothing. We
learn it.
We
Everything is learned. Everything is learned. Back to your wonderful coaching of the coach. I'm Coach Ron Tunick. The show is called The Business Life. My special guest for the whole hour, Abby Levine. I'm dedicating the show today to a dear friend, Nadia Quinn. Nadia, how are you, girl? You were supposed to be on with me last week, Nadia. Where are you? Hello. So she's a great lady. She's a nurse. Nadia's a nurse. And she started a CPR training, so she does CPR training for people in Santa Clarita.
Oh,
you know
I know
Nadia.
her.
Isn't she a doll?
Nada, yeah.
Nada. I said Nadia. It's Nada.
Nada, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is adorable.
I do call her
She
Nadia.
probably
though.
corrects you then.
No, I do call her Nadia. It's Nada though.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah, absolutely.
So the whole show's dedicated to you, Abby Levine, my guest today. So back to timing. Mm-hmm. Back to this wonderful conversation that we had, that timing is everything. It's taken me years and years and years to learn how important timing is. That if you're in a relationship, like I've been married longer than both of you have been alive, having the right time to say something to your wife about anything is so important.
Absolutely.
And that, the world doesn't revolve around me. There are
What?
other shocking. Hello, breaking news. Where's our breaking news thing? So it's taken me a while to realize that if I say something to you, whether it's a friend, a family member, my wife, Abby Levine, my wonderful guest today, I have to be aware of not only what I'm saying, but is this the right time to say this?
Wow.
How do you teach that? Because you just had something happen to you on Facebook, which I thought was ridiculous. But you reacted to one comment, and I thought a lot about that. Mm-hmm. And I've had stuff happen to me on the air, which I'm not going to get into. I've had things happen, and I took it so personally. I don't anymore.
That's great.
I don't anymore, but
That
I
is
used to
awesome.
take it so. So this person affected you somehow.
Barely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, barely.
Okay.
No. What I thought was interesting was, and that we are kind of deviating slightly with this topic, so hopefully you don't mind too much.
No.
But what the thing
Fun to deviate.
it is, right?
Yeah.
The thing that struck me was that the post that I made was with like pure intention, an authentic will, just to help people relate to me because I run events. I have a very successful business. I'm a coach. I feel a lot of people put me on a pedestal, especially my clients. They kind of are like, you can do no wrong. So I love sharing these intimate and vulnerable moments about my journey currently in order to make myself more relatable, because I think the more people put you on a pedestal, the less they think they can do it themselves. And that is absolutely not true. I want people to realize 100% that everybody has access to all of the resources. Anybody can do anything. You just have to have the right roadmap. You have to have the right tools. So I love to share these intimate, vulnerable parts of my journey, and it was completely misunderstood and misinterpreted by moderators of a local moms group who thought I was trying to sales pitch their group, and I was immediately deleted and banned from the group.
Really? Yeah. How silly.
Which I thought was
But
hysterical.
how immature and silly for somebody to ban anybody, especially when it was beyond. It wasn't. It's ridiculous. Facebook, I don't understand. I'm on it. I'm active. I get it. But sometimes, people act out. So a lot of times, because, whoever this lady was, whoever this group was, she had her own agenda.
Right. There was a really interesting comment that one of my friends who's a marketing professional said, which is that usually admins of groups do have their own agenda, and if you come in and your agenda conflicts with their agenda, then they're probably going to remove you. And then I looked at these ladies, and it turns out they're life coaches and spiritual coaches, and so they probably didn't want me
jealous. Hello, yeah, no, that you nailed it. That's exact.
Yeah.
Well, you're very, very successful, and you're very, very strong in a positive way that you're not going to take a backseat to anybody. And they saw you as a competitor. And
right, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, because I think there is no such thing as competition.
Well, there's supposed to be a mastermind group, first of all. They're supposed to be encouraging all the group members, and they just did the opposite of what they're about. So
yeah, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, an SCV. Yeah, totally. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And then again, what I loved about the event is I was able to use it as a reminder, a teaching moment, and which is what I do with everything that happens, you know, is that no matter how well-intentioned what you're saying is, no matter how sweet or kind or vulnerable you're trying to be, someone will always misunderstand you. And there is absolutely nothing that you can do about that.
But it's interesting. Abby Levine, my wonderful guest on The Business of Life, 20 years doing the show here at 98.1 KHTS. The Millennial Minute is coming up here in a few minutes with Andrew. So we do this every week. He's going to turn 20-something, right? Or 19, I don't know.
21.
20.
19
21.
days.
What are you turning?
21.
Are you going to Vegas?
I don't know yet. I'm still planning, trying to figure things out.
I wouldn't.
Abby says no. Abby says no. So he's gonna, your age group is called the Z generation, according to USA Today. So I'm interested to see what you now represent the Z generation on The Business Life. Back to Abby Levine. All right, so we're talking about timing, and we didn't really deviate because I want to make a point that when you write something, when you text something, when you Facebook something, it could be misinterpreted because they weren't there watching you, listening to you. Your words and how you voice them are everything. And this is where we break down in life. This is where relationships break down.
That's right.
Between boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, whatever, is that if you don't pick your words properly, you don't say them properly at the right time, you're going to get a reaction. But when you put them in words, like I do on Facebook, there's no way for them to properly interpret. That's right. So idiots just get rid of it. Whatever that mom idiot site was. Hey, I got your back, girl, okay? I got your back, Abby Levine.
So cute. You know what's funny is that
your enemies are my enemies.
I know. Even though I used it as a teaching moment, it was really cute how many people were like grabbing pitchforks.
Well, you have a lot of friends in this community. I was reading your comments. Go to Abby Levine on Facebook. You'll see what we're talking about. So, what's on your mind, girl? What is? We got to take a break. Oh, come on, Andrew. We got to take a break. I got wonderful sponsors. Thank you, Jersey Mike's and Earthwise Vitamins, and it goes on and on and on. We're going to come back with Abby. What do you want to talk about when we come back?
Let's talk about, can we talk a little bit about emotional intelligence?
Sure.
And like dealing
That's
with
what
your
you do. You're an emotional
stuff?
intelligence.
Emotional transformation strategist.
Emotional transformation strategist. Wow, that's a lot. I'm
a
going
mouthful.
to see, you're going to listen to emotional transformation strategist.
You did it! High five!
High five. We'll be right back on The Business of Life on 98.1 FM.
Visiting Angels is looking for quality caregivers and companions to join our growing team of compassionate, caring people providing care and assistance to Santa Clarita seniors. Our Angels help seniors with activities such as meal preparation, light housekeeping, personal care, and running errands. Visiting Angels takes pride in offering competitive wages, benefits, paid training, and flexible schedules. We have clients throughout Santa Clarita so you can work close to home. Details at visitingangels.com/Santa Clarita.
America's choice in home care.
If you are at least 55 years of age and have a torn and irreparable rotator cuff, You may be eligible for a no-cost clinical trial at Southern California Orthopedic Institute's Valencia Clinic. Call 818-901-6600, extension 1525, or visit rotatorcuffstudy.com to learn about a study of an investigational shoulder implant. Call 818-901-6600, extension 1525, or visit rotatorcuffstudy.com. Sponsored by Micro Air Surgical Instruments.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
So, Andrew, what kind of music would you start to show? On my Friday show, I started with hip-hop. I love my Friday music. I don't know why I don't do it now, but anyway. Abby Levine, my wonderful guest. Hopefully you'll come back many times. I've invited you, but you're so busy.
I would love to.
You're
I
so
love
busy.
hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you. You're an emotional strategist, mentor, coach, what else? Cleric, teacher.
I'm a
speaker, author. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. It's something that I wrote a book called The Thinking Room, my fourth book, and I'm writing another book on fear.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I need to get involved with you on that.
Oh, absolutely.
So tell me about emotional intelligence. Tell me about what you do and how you do it and why you do it.
Absolutely. Well, it's so funny because for the longest time, intelligence has been measured by IQ. And when you're applying for a job, and especially back in the 80s and 90s, it's IQ tests and where are your strengths and where are your skill sets. And what they're realizing is that how you deal with emotions and how you manage other people who also have emotions has a much more profound effect on your ability to be successful. Because no man is an island. So if you are not great with dealing with your emotions, and if you don't handle other people who also have emotions, which is every single person on the planet, very well, you're going to struggle in this world. And, look around. So many people have anxiety. So many people have depression. So many people are lost and feeling alone and feeling misunderstood and lack the communication skills in order to get their needs met. And all kinds of different things.
And loneliness, according to USA Today, yeah.
And especially for the younger people, it's, how do you even go about connecting?
Because stay away from technology. Technology is hurting us. I use it, I like it, I understand it, but you've got to manage this technology because otherwise you're going to isolate yourself.
Absolutely. And that's what's happening more and more often as studies are showing, as the newspapers are showing. Because as you isolate yourself, you forget how to communicate, you forget how to connect, and you become so locked in your brain, and this analysis through paralysis starts to set in. And you forget how to open your heart up. You forget how to connect with someone energetically. And it's not that technology, in my opinion, is bad. It's just that it's become such a crazy addiction that people are avoiding one-on-one interaction in favor of technology. And that's where the balance is tipping and getting unhealthy.
And it's such an interesting subject. Abby Levine, my wonderful guest on The Business Life. I'm the coach, Coach Ron Tunick. So when you look at what you're talking about, our teachers, and my son's a teacher, my mother was a teacher, I get it. But we're not trained. The teachers aren't trained. I mean, if somebody doesn't find a professional like yourself, and generally you find them in your 20s, 30s, for whatever. You worked, I'm sure, with all age groups, right?
I do, all the way from 8 to
80.
80.
8 to 80.
96 was my oldest
Oh,
client.
my, isn't that wonderful?
It was amazing.
So, getting help, men, we won't ask for help.
That's right.
That's another subject. Men won't ask for help. But when you look at this issue of loneliness, when you look at this issue of technology, when you look at all the things that you have to deal with, frustration, depression, all these things are fixable, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Without drugs.
Without drugs. And it's kind of the reason behind my mission. It's why I even started my company, Emotional Intelligence Society. It's
Emotional Intelligence Society. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thanks. Because anxiety and depression are such quick fixes that it's ridiculous that so many people are suffering from it. Anxiety can be dealt with so easily with just a few tools, with just a few pieces of information, a few meditations, a few visualizations, a few hypnosis sessions, and anxiety gone, right? I've had clients who came in to see me who were crying every single day. They were skipping days at work because their anxiety was so bad. They were afraid of everything, afraid of every single thing. And everything that was happening in their head was what if. And one of my clients signed up for 12 sessions, and 7 sessions in, she canceled the rest of her sessions, and she just wanted to put them on hold. She's like, I don't even remember what it feels like to be anxious.
Her name is Abby Levine, ladies and gentlemen, and she's helped me. She's helped me get on an airplane. I stopped flying, and she got me flying again. She's an incredible human being. You're gifted. You know, you're gifted with your profession, which is emotional intelligence. Your company is Emotional Intelligence Society. Mm-hmm. That's how people find you. What's the easiest way to find you today? On Facebook?
Oh, yeah, or abbylevine.com.
abbylevine.com.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
I love your website. Let's do the Millennial Minute. Let's find out what this soon-to-be 21-year-old. When is your birthday, actually?
May 20th.
Wow, this month. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
It's a big. 16. You grew up in South Africa.
In England.
What in England? What age can you drive in England?
England, I started to drive I only started to drive it at 19. I think it's 16, the same as here.
Okay, so you were a late bloomer.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so big birthday, 16, 21, 30, 40. Anyway, keep going. So what's your Millennial Minute? What is a soon-to-be 21-year-old thinking about?
So I know one thing that's been on my mind is this latest Kanye controversy, how everybody's bashing him because he said he loves Trump. Now, what I found interesting was a lot of people didn't look at the context of it, like, oh, yeah, why does he feel this way? So I found it interesting today because him and one of my favorite radio personalities, Charlemagne, dropped an interview where they're going in depth talking about mental health, his political views, and even music and stuff. So that's what's on my mind, Millennial Minute.
I love it. So
why does he? Can you tell us?
Yeah, can you tell us?
I haven't watched the interview yet.
Oh.
I got to wait till I go home today.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Yeah, now I know who he is. Obviously, I've seen him many times. He doesn't come across as a very happy, open person. I mean, he always seems to have a frown on his face.
I can understand that. I can see it, yeah.
You see that?
I don't know, for me personally, I just love the music. Like, I grew up listening to it. My parents hated him, but my brother, me, and my sister, we loved it. So
yeah,
I always been listening to it, always been a fan. So I'm just interested to understand him a little bit more, see how complex of a person he is.
Yeah. So when are you going to investigate and report next week? You're going to investigate why he likes Trump?
There we go. I'll be able to tell you next week, next
Interesting. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, Kanye
yeah. West? Yeah. Okay.
I don't follow his music because he's a little bit younger than my generation.
Yeah.
I'm Backstreet Boys all the way, man.
Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet
yeah.
Boys.
How can you not
NSYNC.
like the Backstreet Boys? I mean, yeah. They're an
my era.
iconic Hall of Fame group of all time. Okay, so back to you, Abby Levine. So your profession of helping people overcome their anxiety, their depression. Let's talk about anxiety for a second. Mm-hmm. I'm writing this book on fear. I don't have a great name yet. I've studied fear. I've been fearful. I've had anxiety attacks when I was younger. Fear is, as you say, complicated because fear could be caused by the unknown, by being uncertain, but it also can be caused by a lot of other things. There can be a chemical imbalance.
Yep, absolutely.
There could be such a built-up frustration level that turns into anxiety.
Something else that's really interesting is that fear is built into our DNA, so it's not something we can ever escape.
Say that again.
Fear is built into our DNA. It's not something we can ever
Fight or flight.
Yep.
Yeah, fight or flight.
Yep. So what happens is that sometimes, well, no, not sometimes, the mechanisms, the neurons in the brain, the wires get crossed. And so our brain tricks us into thinking that we're in a fight or flight situation, which is a survival situation, right? Life or death, when we're not. Right? That can be the cause of a lot of different fears, that the brain is tricking you into thinking that you are fighting for your life when you're actually not. And that's why it triggers that fight or flight mechanism.
Interesting. Abby Levine on 98.1 FM KHTS. So every time I have to go to the dentist, I get anxiety. and my stomach churns. And
is it because of all those articles that you've read of people passing?
No, it's because when I was like 5 or 6 years old, dentistry wasn't like it is today. It was very painful. So all those painful experiences are built in to my subconscious mind.
Yes, they are. We can just clear those out, by the way. So
we can?
Yeah, you let me know. We can have that done
I'll
in
let
like
you
2
know.
to 3
I'll
sessions.
let you know.
Yeah.
We're back to Starbucks again.
No, this will be in my office. A little bit more intense.
I like you at Starbucks. See, I would get anxiety going to your office.
Only the first time. After the first time, you'll see it's just like a big.
Do you have a fish tank?
It's a big hug. No, I don't, but I have a lovely recliner and a blanket. And
man.
Candles.
Does it sound good?
Incense. It is just like having just a nice big hug.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I get anxiety when I go to the dentist. I get anxiety when I go to the doctor's office. Although I'm doing better, it's interesting. I met a doctor that I said to the doc, I said, I've got white coat, fever. You know what that is? So when I see somebody with a white coat, I'm going, oh boy, something's not right.
For you.
It's a trigger, yeah.
Absolutely.
But I'm doing better with it.
Yay!
Yes, I'm doing better. Abby Levine on 98.1 FM. If any of you are struggling out there, I'm telling you, she has a way about her that will make you feel comfortable. She's helped me get on an airplane and fly again. And you can reach her at abbylevine.com, abbylevine.com. All right, so the generations coming up today, well, I don't know. I'm a lot older than both of you put together. I don't see any training. I don't see any exposure to all these subjects that you're helping people overcome: depression, anxiety, frustration.
There is absolutely no access to any kind of information, and like you and I just touched on,
you can't read about it. I mean, reading. I'm a reader, okay? I'm a prolific reader, but reading isn't the same as having a session with you.
It's not, because reading, talking about it, watching videos, watching movies, what it does, it's amazing. It gives you a perspective shift. So it can open up some parts of your brain. It can let some light in. It cannot change the way that your neurons are firing. You need some other kind of process or technique to disconnect the way that those neurons are actually firing in your brain, and talking about it does not do anything. Doesn't. So that's why, I have clients who've been to, and don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing talk therapy. I myself have been to therapy numerous times. I went for a whole year, and I love therapy. Everything has a place. Every kind of technique has a place. But I have clients who went to therapy for 10, 20 years and still felt the same.
Well, you said something that I identified with right at the beginning of the show, that you teach people how to coach themselves. That, to me, that's the essence of a true professional. When I'm doing my business coaching, I don't want that client for 5 years.
No, if someone's seeing me for 5 years, I'm not doing my job.
Bingo.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't get that out of so-called, therapy-type professionals, Yeah, we're both in agreement on that. If you're doing your job, then people are able to find their own triggers, manage themselves, right? Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
They are. But anytime I meet a therapist, I just highly...
Well, you threaten them, Abby.
Well, encourage them to look into hypnosis as a modality to use in their therapy.
But you have to be licensed, right? You're licensed?
Hypnotherapy? No.
You don't have to be licensed?
Nope. You can learn hypnotherapy on a YouTube video and call yourself a hypnotherapist.
You're kidding.
Nope.
I'm thinking about becoming a pastor for $15, going online, getting my preacher license.
You can pay $200 and go to a hypnotherapy weekend and become certified as a hypnotherapist, but I wouldn't recommend going to anybody who doesn't have extensive training.
I couldn't do what you do. I'm great with a business owner that wants to figure out how to make more money in his business, but you have a gift that I don't have. To sit down with somebody and listen to them or hear them or watch them cry. Mm-hmm. Wow. And
not try to comfort them. That is a skill. Because when people are crying, your instinct is to make them feel better by hugging them, handing them tissues. From my seat, no. Go ahead, feel your emotions. It's actually very healthy for you. I'm going to be right here. This is a safe space. Go ahead, let it out. But I'm not going to try to make it go away either, right?
Holy moly. Abby Levine. Come on, the old coach needs comfort, girl. Huh? So when somebody comes to your practice, do you? God, I'm going to have I was going to say I was going to have a brain fart, but I'm not going to say that.
Good. I'm so glad that you didn't.
I'm not saying that. God, I can't. So when you Freud, that's Freud. So Freud would sit down with his patients, or if you were grown up with, if you're a Freudian type of therapist, you get into somebody's background, right? So do you do that too?
No, not necessarily. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why people sometimes prefer hypnosis and hypnotherapy or neurolinguistic programming or other kinds of techniques over traditional therapy is you don't have to relive any of it in order to heal from it. You can let everything go without having to re-experience that pain, without having to like drudge up all of those memories. And I think that's one of the most misunderstood misconceptions about healing is that people think in order to heal, I have to relive all of that. And I'm not willing to relive any of it, therefore I'm not going to heal. But it's not true at all. There's so many different ways that you can heal without having to re-experience any of the pain.
Abby Levine, neurolinguistics, I've studied it, not as much as you have, but, let's talk about self-talk for a second. Do you teach people how to change their self-talk? Because the self-talk can be very, very destructive.
It is. It absolutely is. Self-talk, in my opinion, can actually create autoimmune diseases and other types of diseases. Really, really, really. It's so destructive. If you think of, I'm sure you've heard of Dr. Emoto, right, and his water study. And if you haven't, I'm going to enlighten you now.
I'm not allowed to tell you. But we're talking about self-talk with Abby Levine on 98.1. So self-talk can be extremely destructive, but it also, on the reverse, can be extremely positive, can be life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, someone who has this tape, right? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like a tape just going round and round, a tape that says, I am no one, I am nothing, no one wants me, no one values what I have to offer, right? So that just goes round and round, and it affects every single area of your life. It affects obviously your career. Because if that tape is playing, you're not going to go for positions that will actually treat you for the value. You're going to go for lower positions that you were way above. Right? It can affect your relationships. Your value is going to be lower there. It can affect your boundaries, your ability to set boundaries with your friends and family. So when you can flip that script and go, I am worthy. I do deserve. I want to be loved. I choose to love myself. Everything just kind of lifts. You kind of feel this all lifting, like you're kind of lifting out of the trenches. You put up with less crap. You are less triggered by people, who block you from groups when you say something. It just kind of rolls off your back. You don't have that like rageful reaction. You don't have that devastatedly sad or, like feeling of rejection, because that self-talk goes, no, I'm good. I'm good, so it must be them. No, I'm great. Like, I'm living my purpose. I am in alignment with myself. I am confident. I am comfortable. And it's definitely a process. That is not something that can be, altered overnight, but it's a very simple step-by-step process that as long as you follow the process, you'll definitely change your script.
Abby Levine, abbylevine.com. She's incredible. She's helped the coach in so many ways. When you look at the self, when I'm coaching businesses, you can't help anybody else. You can't be a better employer. You can't be a better father, husband, mother, aunt, uncle. You can't be a better person until you start with yourself. And that takes a lot of work, and you need a mentor. We can't do it by ourselves today.
No.
We can't.
Well, if we knew how to do it by ourselves, we would have done it already, right? Yeah. And how's that working for most people, right? Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head, is that it has to start with you. And some people find the metaphor of the oxygen mask really grotesque. And so I try to limit or at least gauge my audience before I say the oxygen mask, putting the oxygen mask on yourself before helping anyone else. But it's absolutely true. Some people feel that it's selfish in order to make sure that their needs are fulfilled. But if you break down if you continue to give without rest, without taking care of yourself, you will leave this world. Either you'll be locked away with some kind of disease, or you will die, because if you can't take care of yourself, your systems will break, your body systems, your family systems, and then what's going to happen, right?
Well, we're going to tell you what's going to happen. We're going to come back and talk about you. You mean everything to us. And if you're listening to the show, it's called The Business Life. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I have the best guest on, over 15,000 interviews, 20 years doing the show. My great guest today, she'll be back many times, Abby Levine. We'll be right back on 98.1 KHTS.
When you're looking for a midnight snack, sometimes fast food just doesn't cut it. California Bakery and Cafe is open 24/7, so you'll be able to find fresh donuts, danishes, bagels, all-natural fruit juices, gourmet sandwiches, and much more at any hour. With elaborate cakes for any occasion, including weddings, baptisms, anniversaries, corporate events, or any special event. California Bakery and Cafe in Santa Clarita is open 24 hours to satisfy any craving, anytime. Call us, 255-1254. That's 255-1254.
You got some aches and pains, you weekend warrior, chronic inflammation or chronic pain? Well, guess what? I've got a solution for you. It's called Men Cryotherapy, right here in Santa Clarita. Men Cryotherapy is what the major leaguers are using to mend their aches and pains. They're in the LA Fitness Shopping Center on Newhall Ranch Road. They could be a wonderful blessing for you to relieve you of your joint pain and regain your mobility.
Remember the name, Men Cryotherapy, or check them out at mencryotherapy.com. That's MEND cryotherapy.com.
It isn't often when we see a company launch in Santa Clarita and become an international sensation. In 2010, Jen Gerard founded Whitening Lightning in her Valencia kitchen. Now it's a booming international sensation. Leading actresses and international models have switched to Whitening Lightning to avoid the mess, hassle, and sensitivity of other products. Whitening Lightning's simple Dial a Smile kit will dramatically turn your teeth whiter in just 20 minutes. Rediscover how white your teeth can look. Visit whiteninglightning.com. whiteninglightning.com.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM 1220, your hometown station.
Andrew, my wonderful young producer here, doing a great job on The Business Life, 20 years doing the show. Great guest today. Man, I wish we could have 2 hours, Abby. This hour is flown by. Abby Levine, everybody, at abbylevine.com. So let's talk about you for a second. You, our dear listener, people who are driving, and no texting and driving. It's interesting. I use this analogy all the time in my business practice, and that is I will see golfers go out and spend $2,000. Golf clubs are very expensive. One really good driver is $500. So if you have a driver, 3-wood, a 5-wood, you've got $1,500 in drivers. You got another $1,600 in clubs. Wow. Your bag is $200 to $300. So you could have easily $3,000. Yeah. Now you join a private club. But you know what? They don't take lessons. So the story here is, if you're listening to this show and you have this life look, we're all in the same boat. Trust me, we just sit at different ends of the boat or different positions in the boat. If you don't get coaching or mentoring, you don't find somebody like Abby Levine. I'm a business coach. Now, I don't coach individuals. I don't have your patience. I really don't. It's a blessing that you have a different style than I do, and you have a different level of patience than I do. It takes a lot of patience to work with individuals.
It does.
So when people are struggling with depression, anxiety, these are two of your real strengths, right?
These are my hot buttons. Because,
anxiety and depression?
Yeah, because, and lack of self-esteem, because I read a statistic.
Oh, I love myself, so I don't have any problems there.
Yeah.
I'm good to go there. But most people are not.
They're not. And I read a statistic that about 65% of Americans are on either an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety.
I'm on ice cream, which you can. Yeah.
That's the best kind. That's the best. It's much better for your health. I'll tell you that.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm a little chubby in the tubby. So if people could be exposed to a professional like yourself, life would be so much better for them.
Yes. Better, happier, lighter, easier. Because the thing
easier.
is... Easier. Because these negative emotions, they sit. And it's not that they're just kind of sitting in the corner. No, they're sitting in a backpack on your back, and you have to bring them with you no matter what you do. Can you imagine trying to climb a mountain with a 10-ton backpack on your back? That's what people are doing in life every day. Of course, it feels like you're not moving forward in your life. How can you? You're carrying way too much weight. You got to get rid of that stuff so you can feel like you're progressing and moving forward. You just have to let it go. And I work with all spectrums, because I was raised in foster care. I love working with people who had
I was a foster kid. You were too?
We have never discussed this?
Never. I was a foster.
Yeah,
You're kidding me.
No.
Will you come on in a couple of weeks and we'll get... So I sponsored... anyway,
we'll have to do something with
You're
that.
a foster kid too?
Yeah, for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I love working with people with a difficult, challenging background, even if it's not foster care.
I was a foster kid for about 9 years, 10 years, yeah. Left home when I was 14. One of the things I was thinking about you today, I was so excited that you're on with me. Hopefully you'll come back in a couple of weeks.
I would love to.
One of the things that I think you've helped me with, and I know you help your clients, is when you can make better decisions. Wow, life is easier. I like what you said. Life is easier and lighter. And I think understanding decision making is what gets us into trouble. Not understanding decision making.
And relegating your ability to make decisions too, right? So many people go, I can't, I have to, I'm trapped, da-da-da. But no, of course, you're never trapped anywhere. You may be between the lesser of two bad decisions, right? So there's going to be pain either decision you make, but that doesn't mean you don't have a decision. There's always options, always. And when you're drowning in this negative emotion that you've been carrying your whole life, you don't have access to your resources. You don't have access to your strength, your wisdom, your intuition, your confidence, your persistence, your grit, right? You're just kind of sitting in this puddle of emotion going, well, this is my lot, I guess. I'm just going to go ahead and accept it, and I'm going to relegate power. And so that's what I help people with is, no, I do not accept. And usually by the time people come to me, they're literally like, I don't want this anymore. Can you help me? And I'm like, yes, of course I can. But it took you coming to me. It took this step. I can't go out and go, you. Are you ready for change? Are you ready for change? No. I'm like, here, hi guys, this is what I do.
But the problem is people wait till the pain is so ridiculous, and that's where it just frustrates. Why wait till the pain is so bad?
Right.
I don't get that part. But I was going to say that if your decision making is so weak, here's what happens in the real world: you won't take the necessary risk to advance your life.
That's right.
No matter what it is, whether it's family, work, play, hobbies, you have to take a risk in order to move to the next level.
Yeah, even if it's, do we risk going to Sabor on a Saturday night? Maybe it's just dinner, but all these decisions have to be made all the time, every day.
Oh, they're going to be too busy. I'm not going. It's going to be too crowded. I'm not going.
Time. Right. And then you're sitting at home and eating a mac and cheese out of the Kraft box.
Well, let's not knock mac and cheese here. Listening to Abby Levine and the Coach. Abby Levine and the Coach, AbbyLevine.com on 98.1 FM. But it's true. I see so many people, you ask them a point-blank question and they can't answer it. So what happens, we were talking about self-talk a few minutes ago, if you know that you can't answer the question, guess what happens to your self-talk? It becomes negative.
Of course. Look, see, I was right the whole time. You are a XYZ. That's exactly right. Yeah, it just gets stuck in this perpetual cycle going round and round, which can easily be broken, but you just have to do this work.
How do we get the horse to the water? That's our challenge, isn't it?
Really, it's I talk about the pain, so in my posts and my videos, I talk about the pain because a lot of people are trying to avoid the pain. I go right for it. I go for the jugular. Hey, if this is your life, you know that you're the one creating it, right? And if you don't want your life to be this way, you know that you're the only one who can do something about it, right? And that's all. That's all we can do.
We got to continue the conversation. Can you come back on May 8th? That's 2 weeks from now. We'll continue the conversation May 8th.
Sure.
We dedicate the show today. You say Nadia. I say Nadia Quinn. I know she's listening. And her mommy may be listening, too. You ever met her mommy?
No.
Oh, my God. Her mommy is unbelievable. Her mommy, what do they call that when they read your horoscope?
Ooh, astrologer.
She nailed me. I'm not kidding you. The most amazing thing I've ever seen.
That.
Her name is Abby Quinn. You'll see her in 2 weeks, and we'll continue the conversation about you, because you can get whatever you want out of life, but you have to be willing to get mentored, to get coached, to learn. Look, coaching or mentoring is like, you can't climb the tallest mountain in the world without paying a Sherpa guide like $20,000. You can't get up. So life works the same way. You've got to get some direction. You got to get some help. It's not easy to figure things out anymore. We'll see you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. I'll see you Friday on my sports show at 1 o'clock, 98.1. KHTS. Thank you, Abby Levine.
Thanks for having me.
When I wrote in on a song,